What's up, Legends? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be jumping into the new busted high round strategy for Black Ops 7 Zombies. Now, I will say this is probably going to get patched insanely fast, because if you guys thought that the strategy for Ashes of the Damned while bouncing using the launcher was absolutely busted, well, this is even more hands-off, to the point where essentially you could do it without upgrading any weapons at all. And yes, that sounds absolutely insane, because it is. Now, something you're going to have to keep in mind for this is that you are going to need to research the augments, specifically for Mule Kick, because you're going to need to get this one here, known as Free Throw. Chance to keep equipment when used does not apply to combat acts. Now, the reason that this is busted will make sense in a minute, but essentially, this is what we're really taking advantage of here. And obviously, you're going to want to have fully equipped as well to carry more equipment. In the case of something like a Kazimir, this allows you to hold 3 of them, and we are going to be focused on Kazimirs for this specific strategy. Now, after trying this strategy a little bit myself, I do want to mention a couple of extra things that I think will be beneficial. You are going to want to, on your Vulture's Aid, have Condor's Reach auto pick up loot from further away, just to give you a better chance of picking it up when it is available and put you at less risk when trying to do so. And then Picky Eater on death, zombies have a higher chance of dropping your current equipment, which is another way that you could generate your Kazimir or get your Kazimirs back. Now let's go ahead and jump into the strategy. Now this is extremely easy to do, but there are some things along the way that I do want to mention that will help you kind of prevent from having issues doing this strategy. But essentially, the first step is, once you load in, you're going to need to open up the doors, get access to Pack-a-Punch, turn on the power, kind of get the map opened up. And you're also going to want to save up 1,500 salvage to go over to the crafting table to get access to your first Kazimir. Now, obviously, what perks you get in what order is up to you, but I essentially recommend to get access to Mule Kick as soon as possible, because regardless if you're choosing to utilize weapons throughout your run, you will need Mule Kick to be able to duplicate, let's say, your Kazimirs for the strategy to work. Now, once you have access to a Kazimir and you have access to Mule Kick, all you need to simply do is, I did this in the Pack-a-Punch room, go over to any window, basically throw the Kazimir out of bounds, and you will notice if you've thrown a Kazimir out of bounds before, it essentially just gives it right back to you. It doesn't actually activate or do anything like that. You don't lose it, but it does give it back to you. Now, with those augments that I told you to equip on Mule Kick, this also gives you an opportunity to get a bonus Kazimir just throwing it out the window. Now, this is not something that I think they intended for this. It's supposed to be you throw the Kazimir, it activates, then you're going to be able to have an opportunity for another one to essentially fill that spot. But with the way this currently works, you essentially throw it out of bounds, giving it back to you, and that also gives you an opportunity to get a Kazimir back. So once you actually get started and you get to the point where you have 3 Kazimirs in your slots because of Mule Kick, and you are able to throw them and get them back, you're going to stand next to the window within the Pack-a-Punch room, essentially throwing the Kazimirs out of bounds to regenerate them. And then whenever your Kazimir expires, you throw a new Kazimir. You continue to spam them outside the window to regenerate the missing one. Then as soon as you get another one back or the other one goes away, you throw a brand new Kazimir, and you just continue this process over and over. Now, the one thing that I did notice that could be kind of tricky is you want to make sure when you're throwing it out the window, you're aiming super high, and it's not a spot that the zombies coming into the window can actually impact the Kazimir. Because I did have a couple of instances where essentially the zombie knocked the Kazimir back into the map, and then the Kazimir obviously went off, wasting my Kazimir. Another thing I would mention or recommend is putting on the Ether Shroud. That way, if there gets to a point where you run out of Kazimirs, hopefully by that point you will have built up enough salvage. You can just essentially run over to the crafting table, Ether Shroud there, grab yourself a couple of Kazimirs, get the least amount that you feel like you can survive with. That way you can just regenerate them and also keep the salvage. You should be able to maintain this pretty well. The only thing that is kind of RNG is whether or not throwing the Kazimir will give you one in return, which sometimes leads to you running out of them, just depending on how the RNG works out. But essentially, you're going to want to take full advantage of this as quickly as possible, because I anticipate this is something that gets patched within the next day or two. So if you're somebody that wants around 50, or you want to go to around 100, or you just want to get a little bit extra kills on that leaderboard to push you up to the top 5, I would definitely recommend doing so, just because more than likely if people are in the top 5, this is what they will be doing to try to maintain that. That's going to wrap things up for us here. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all support in the channel, and I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace!